change healthcare, just like the pandemic, everything since the pandemic, the next pandemic should look very different than the previous one. But what about change healthcare? What will it look like 2 years from now when something like this happens?
Yeah, this is a very broad brush to sort of paint everybody with. We think about healthcare cybersecurity on the Hill as a problem that is a problem in healthcare organizations, healthcare systems. And in fact, what we've seen is that with Change Healthcare, you could have healthcare systems who are doing everything perfectly fine or not. It would have had no effect on the Change Healthcare breach because the reality is we live in a world now where we have more third parties than ever before, and we're more dependent on those third parties than ever before.
Absolutely.
Healthcare is a team sport from the perspective of business and clinical and research, lots and lots of things connected together. And that creates, in the military, we had this term called center of gravity, which meant that was the place that if you attack, you can create massive destruction across an entire country. And so the center of gravity in this case was a place that a lot of people hadn't necessarily thought about, although as those mergers occurred and Change Healthcare and United Healthcare Group all came together, there were folks who sort of protested some of the acquisitions that were happening. But we've created kind of two different parts of the system now. Health systems, which certainly have to get better and have to do cybersecurity better and have to protect themselves and the stuff that's on their network and the stuff that they're connected to. But the other part of this is the center of gravities that we've created with third-party organizations who pull data from lots of different health systems to do the work they've been hired to do. But when it turns out a bad guy can breach one of those third parties, they can get access to the data for hundreds of health systems, not just one health system. So that's why the change thing was so interesting. And so I think ultimately the point she's trying to make is that you're sort of standing on the sidelines from a cybersecurity perspective, maybe yelling at health systems about they have to get their act together and be better at cybersecurity. And while that's true, that wouldn't have had any effect on what happened with Change Healthcare because it's a third party.
Right.
And so to only get to that point at the end of the hearing is maybe a little bit of a loss. And from the people who are going to do what they're going to do, which is make new rules and new regulations and new laws that will affect cybersecurity and healthcare delivery, it's a thing they need to understand better.